to kick this off with a question, and we're going to put you to work right out of the gate. Here it is. We could sell more and make more money if.
Go ahead and pause the recording right now and answer the question. When you're finished, resume the recording.
Scott, would you give somebody the microphone?
Danielle?
Go for it.
We came up with more accountability,
Okay.
better salespeople,
Yes.
resources to onboard, support processes, so better structure to be able to grow and handle the growth, technology upgrades, so better accountability, which kind of goes right along with the CRM.
Very good. Thank you. Bill, could you give somebody the microphone?
Stephanie.
Motivate all month, cast more lines in the ocean, meaning some people focus just on digital marketing or just on community-based marketing. The more lines you have in the ocean, the more fish you'll be able to catch. Focus, fill funnels with leads, quality leads. There is a big difference. And having effective training for both product knowledge and the Salesforce training.
Sweet. Very good. Very good. Thank you for that. Dave, you're the team lead here?
Yeah.
You want to assign somebody to be a spokesperson?
Sure. Tom?
Having qualified leads, sorting those out of all the interesting prospects we have and prospects that are on the radar, and really drilling down to true qualified leads. And then my suggestion was have that in a daily target list. So that's all you wake up and you've got your qualified leads in front of you and you knock those out and then you can go home. Admin assistant would be great to help you put that kind of stuff together. Get to the decision maker faster. Statistically, you do that, and it'll go from there. And then just follow up, and then start the whole process over again.
Our list of items: salespeople who were motivated, and following a sales process was very important to us. And some of the things that we hear from a sales team would be more lead generation, better product offering, more competitive pricing, which is some of the feedback you get from the sales team. But we think stronger value proposition, and also kind of the key one is stronger sales leadership. They can really move them out when it comes to managing the sales team.
Yeah.
And better services and support in the organization to make the sales job easier.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let me just kind of hit a couple slides here to see what, first of all, yesterday's top challenges were. Okay. First, I want to address yesterday's top challenges. Now, some of these posters, maybe even called some of these out, but these are, now when I was doing this back in 2000, 2005, or even early on in like 2010, 11, Scott and I knew each other back then, and he came to sessions when I used to do these, and our focus back then was talking about how to get through pesky gatekeepers. I mean, even in terms of an executive briefing, like most of the people here are in management. I know there's a couple of people here that are in sales themselves, and some of you are selling managers, but it's interesting. We're hearing less and less of the complaints like this: pesky gatekeepers, poor qualification skills, selling decision makers, cold call reluctance, poor networking skills, lying prospects, premature proposal delivery, not enough referrals, prospects who hide behind voicemail. And I'm not saying that these aren't problems that exist today. However, I'm here to tell you, we're a sales training organization. Right? Most of what we do, about 70% of what we do is we train salespeople, right? The remainder of that is we work with management teams and leadership teams and help shore up management and leadership. And we also do some strategic planning. We have a service called Active Sales Management where we can provide a sales management service for a company and come in and install that sales management piece and then basically job benchmark ourselves out of a job and put somebody back in that role for the company. So we're a full service support company when it comes to sales training, leadership development, sales development. But I'm telling you, these are yesterday's top challenges. They really are. And we don't hear them as much anymore. This is mainstream. This is what it is. This is how it exists. Let's talk about today's top challenges. Today's top challenges. Here's today's top challenges. Interpersonal conflict. Lack of courage. succession planning issues. And I'm not talking about selling your business succession plan issues. I'm talking about how do we promote people up to a management position, or how do we scale our sales team or divide our sales team up into verticals? What's the best way to approach our market? Inability to manage time. We hear this a lot. Lack of effective systems and processes. I've heard that on a few different posters. Just sales process, but not just sales process, but core processes in a business. How does sales interact with finance? How does sales interact with operations? Poor hiring skills, low trust, low motivation, too much criticism, not enough coaching. So these are what we're hearing today. And the real question behind this, you got to be asking yourself, is what? One word. What question are you asking?
Why?
That's it. Say it again.
Why?
This is what y'all should be asking yourself. Why? Why? Why is this the holdup from us building a sales team, or getting people to sell, or getting people to stick within our organization? Why?
Changing culture?
Well, let's take a look. Thomas is hitting the nail on the head. We're moving away from what's called the reign of a heroic leader. So stay with me on this. So if you're on your cell phone, or you're digging in on some email right now and texting, and those of you that are online, if you're doing other things, I would urge you to put down everything and hear what I'm going to say. Hear what I'm going to say. It's been written in books ad nauseum. All right. Jim Collins tried to tell us about it back in the early 2000s, late 90s. He wrote the book Good to Great. A ton of people listened to him, but there are still a few of us that are hanging on for dear life. And those people are some of those people sitting in this room, and they're called Gen Xers. That's me. All right? And some of them are called baby boomers. And there's some of those in this room. I don't know if there's any traditionalists in this room. There might be, but I don't think so. And there may be even a millennial or two in this room. So here's what I'm getting at. We're moving away from the reign of a heroic leader. That means that we don't want people to be a hero in leadership anymore. We don't want a sales manager to swoop in and close the deal for us anymore. We don't want to hire a CEO who takes care of the company anymore. That's not, in terms of telling us what to do. We want to hire a CEO that creates a safe environment for us. We want to hire a sales manager that'll create a safe environment for us. And what some of you hear me saying right now, and you're getting ready to tune off, before you flip the switch, let me say this to you. What you hear me saying is you need to coddle your salespeople. That's what you hear me saying. But I'm telling you to do anything but coddle your salespeople. Here's the other thing: they don't want to be coddled. So that we're stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck in the chamber. I mean, it's like I was at the ball game last week up in Arizona to take my daughter to spring training, and I always love doing. I draw these little analogies from things. I'm kind of freaky like that. But there's a guy that's trying to get the onions out of the machine. He's turning the crank. He's banging the onion machine. The onions are clogged in there. It's like some of our thought process right now. We're clogged up. We're like, hey Jeff, you're back at the office. You're banging inside your head, going, I can't get why is this happening? I can see it on some of your posters. So, welcome to the rise of the collaborative leader. The rise of collaborative leader. And here's what that really means. Heroic leaders versus collaborative leaders. All right? So I'm going to go slow so you can take some notes. There's note cards everywhere, all over the place in this room. If you brought a notepad, feel free to take some notes, take some pictures with your phone, whatever you'd like. But let's look at the difference between heroic leaders and collaborative leaders. Heroic leaders, they make others earn their trust. Collaborative leaders, they trust others from day one. And all the Gen Xers just went, I don't trust anybody. You're kidding me. I was taught never trust anybody. And by the way, we're going to learn in a couple of minutes, the baby boomers, they certainly don't trust authority, right? I mean, you can't. So we've got back-to-back generations who have been taught that you shouldn't trust authority. And what we're saying is trust everybody from day one. Are you kidding me? Believe in constructive criticism. Heroic leaders do. Collaborative leaders believe in coaching. Don't roll your eyes. It's coaching, not coddling. It's a big difference. Dale Carnegie said in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, this thing was written in the early 1900s, gang. Guess what he said about constructive criticism? Does anybody know? It's an oxymoron. It's an oxymoron. He went on to cite that there had been numerous leaders in histories that had all believed that principle, including Benjamin Franklin, Abe Lincoln, some pretty staunch leaders who have stood out and said, listen, anytime you constructively criticize someone, what you're really doing is criticizing them, and you will absolutely break communication when you begin to criticize. Heroic leaders hire and fire based on gut instinct, and they're still doing it today. You know, I just have a good feeling about this person, right? Or, you know, I just get the feeling that this person's not going to turn the corner. Collaborative leaders hire and fire based on core values. I work with a company here locally, and it's on my website, and Aaron Nursey is the president of the company, and he's going public with his testimony about RedRock, so I can drop his name, and if you go to our website and go to the active management tab on there, and you drop down, you can see a little video that he did, a little testimonial video. But when I started working with him, he had 3 salespeople. He now has 15. And the one thing that him and I work diligently on is this idea of trusting and hiring, firing based on core values. And you know what we end up doing is we give people an opportunity if we know they have the right core values. And it allows us and opens up the door for coaching. And we have seen an incredible level of success. Let me tell you, let me boast this level of success. Okay, now we've hired probably 30 people to get those 15. 30 to get those 15, okay? But here's the thing. Those 15 that are there, every single one of them has lasted 90 days and are still there. We've not lost one salesperson in 3 years that's made it past their initial 90 days. It's pretty impressive. Heroic leaders take credit for positive results. Collaborative leaders credit others for positive results. Heroic leaders place blame for poor results. Collaborative leaders accept responsibility for poor results. Heroic leaders create their legacy by taking control to protect their own reputation. Collaborative leaders, they create their legacy by serving and taking care of others. So, gang, step 1 of building a high accountability sales team is you're going to have a paradigm shift. And I don't know if you know what a paradigm shift is, but here's a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift is literally the changing of a mental filter. Okay, what that simply means is that you're looking through a lens that is perhaps a blue lens, and when you change that blue lens to a green lens, you now see everything in green, not blue. That would be a paradigm shift, right? That's a shift in perspective. So I really encourage you and urge you to pick up books like Dan Pink, Drive. Pick up books like Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. Pick up books like Jim Collins, Good to Great, and watch what they're saying about the rise of the collaborative leader. Any questions? All right? So, where's this all come from? Let's take a look at the workplace today. Check this out. 5 generations in the workplace today. 5 generations, count them. Now, the influence of the traditionalists. Now, these are folks. Now, don't get caught up on where my research draws the line, because depending on who you look to for the research, certain people will say that these generations cut off in certain years. That, to me, that's not important. Whether it's 1977 or 1980, the point is solid that each generation, each group of people are influenced in different ways. So this traditionalist generation, that was the baby boomers' parents, right? These are the people that are probably in their mid to late 70s right now, 80s, and there are still several of them still at work in the workplace. Their influence was the Great Depression and World War II. Their traits are loyal, respectful of authority, stubborn, and dependable. Their views on money, hide and pay cash, education's a privilege, and management tells me what to do. That's the traditionalist generation. Let's take a look at the baby boomers. These are the kids of the traditionalists, right? These baby boomers are the sort of beginning to exit the workforce now. There are some baby boomers in the room. They're influenced by the Vietnam War, the 1960s, Civil Rights Movement. Mom's a stay at home and dad's a go to work. Their traits, well educated, they question authority, they have good teamwork skills. Their views, money, buy now, pay later. Education's a birthright, and management, really, I know best. Generation X. These are the kids of the boomers, the grandkids of the traditionalists. Influenced, divorced parents. You see what happens? See, mom's at work, dad's at, okay, now you see the separation, right? And then you see dual income homes and Reagan, the end of the Cold War, right? Now traits, independent, family focused, intolerant of bureaucracy, hardworking, and critical of others. So this generation right here really owns that critical piece, that hero, that rugged individualist piece. Like they saw what their parents went through and the ups and downs of the 70s, right, and the 80s. And then they vowed that, you know what, they weren't going to do that. They were going to take control of their families. They were going to take control of their business. They were going to take control of their money, right? And their views on money are cautious and conservative. Education is a tool to get ahead. And management, they seek a hero. This is the Generation X. So if you are the one who's trying to make a paradigm shift, you ought to understand what you're up against and how your views are affecting the way you're going to think. Now we bring into view the millennial generation. Everybody gets a trophy. This is this generation, right? This is the generation that's upon us right now. They're in the workforce, heavy influence in the workforce today. Doting parents, 9/11, Columbine, video gaming. That's their influence. Their traits, fast-paced. They think like entrepreneurs. They value relationships. They're highly mobile. They're obsessed with information. Their views on money, they earn to spend. Education's a necessary investment. And management is an obstacle to moving up. So, millennial 2020s are the next in line. We group them in with the millennials. We seem to think that they're going to have the same traits. Those are the interns right now. Some of them are coming into the first and second and third year of their career, but many of them haven't really even begun their career yet, and they're kind of still in the intern mode. So, what do y'all think about this?
It's spot on.
I mean, do you have any questions? I mean, any thoughts? I mean, right now I'm just throwing some information out there. I haven't given you anything except information and answered this question, why from heroic to collaborative. If you're feeling frustrated right now, good. You should feel frustrated. You should feel incredibly agitated because there are a whole slew of business owners and managers out there that are really perplexed at what to do now. And you know, they're all saying, Jeff, this is all fine and good, but come on, this is a bunch of airy-fairy garbage. I mean, you know, tell me how we can grow the company, for crying out loud. Where do I find some people that don't want to be coddled? They're not even hearing what I'm saying many times. Hope that's not happening right now, but hopefully you're leaning in a little bit. Let's take a look at this slide. If the previous slides haven't sort of convinced you or rocked your world a little bit, I want you to look at this. I'm going to point this out. Let's look at the bottom slide first, and just notice how yellow are traditionalists, green are baby boomers, red is Generation X, millennials are the purple, and then the Generation 2020 or the millennial 2020 is they're going to be the blue. All right. So look at 2005. We don't have any Generation or millennial 2020s in the picture in 2005. None in 2010. They start to enter in 2015. All right. Now, look what's happening down in 05. We see millennials to 2010 to 2015. The millennial begins to grow. Generation X stays still, okay, as it should, because they're sort of living. But notice they're not growing, right? So that Generation X is a very, very small generation compared to the boomers, compared to the millennials, right? So take a look at what's happening with the boomers. I mean, the boomers, there's way more boomers out there than Xers. And it continues to shrink the the boomers go backwards, and now the millennials are on the rise. Look what happens by 2020. Look at the purple and the blue. You put the purple and blue together, you have more millennials in generation 2020 than you have Gen Xers, traditionalists, and boomers together. Let me hear some thoughts. Danielle, you started us out last time strong. Can you give us some input over there, Tyler or Danielle?
We were just talking about like millennials and, we have multiple ones that, we're accountable for, and just getting them to see like our industry is not a 9-to-5 industry. I mean, we have crazy hours and, we have to meet customer demands. So sometimes that's late at night, early in the morning, depending on whatever. So how do you get them invested? Does your whole culture of your, water treatment industry shift because these people shift, or how do you meet those things? So it's kind of like a tension and a frustrating place, because even though we're younger, we're still more like old souls. Like we'll work those hours, we'll do those things, we'll meet those needs, but then trying to get these people like to be with us to do it is like trying to pull teeth.
Great. Good. Okay, good. Very, very, very good thought.
With the millennials as strong as they will be in the workforce, we're going to have a real issue with loyalty, generating loyalty for the company to keep them, and their the independence of that employee is going to go up.
Okay.
They're going to become more and more independent.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. I'm going to hold my thoughts. Who else has some thoughts? Stephanie, do you have anything different back there?
We had pretty much the same thing. I mean, most of our workforce, our companies have younger people in that millennial age bracket that are our team leaders. We were talking about anytime, I know when I have had to have a review with one of them, they don't take criticism very well. The constructive criticism really needed to be reformed into some type of coaching. Otherwise, they feel like they're being yelled at.
Yep.
And their motivations are different.
Let me give you some facts about millennials. They think like entrepreneurs. They value relationship over money. They're highly mobile. They're extremely loyal. They value team over independence. And so now we will even get more confused because, wait a second, why can't we get them to do what we want them to do then? And this program is really not all about millennials. That's not it. The point is this. Let me make this statement and I'll give you my point. Companies with high leadership qualities are 6 times more likely to be the top 20 financial performers of all organizations. That was a statement that was delivered back in actually 2015. Okay, and I don't believe that this is less true. In fact, I think if it can be more true, if that's even possible, this is more true today than I think it's ever been before, and I want to show you why. And I think it really keys in when we begin to talk about how to build this high accountability sales team. Let me make my point about millennials very quickly, and about the culture and the question I ask you all to answer with each other and just discuss with each other. When you take such an influence of people, so in other words, if I brought people into this room that wanted to talk about sports. If I just brought, we have 12 people in the room. If I brought 4 or 5 or 6 people in this room, okay, if I brought half the population into this room and I dispersed them to talk about sports, after about 15 or 20 or 30 minutes, what do you think we'd all be talking about?
Football.
Sports. Right? Okay, that's a layup question. Okay, if I brought in people to talk about gardening, if I brought 6 or 7 people into this room, tell them to talk about gardening amongst the people, what do you think the whole room would be talking about in the next 15 or 20 minutes? Gardening. All right. I mean, voting. Same with voting. Okay, what's that? Sports. Yeah. Right. But the point is that when you bring influence, when you bring this many people in, it's going to change. It's going to change the perspective. It's going to change the conversation. It's going to change the culture. Eventually what's going to happen is the people in this room, if the people who came in to talk about sports stay long enough, the people that don't like sports are going to leave, and more people like sports are going to come in. You understand that, right? It's like eventually the whole room's going to turn over to a group that does nothing but talk about sports. And this is just, this. You don't have to be a Malcolm Gladwell aficionado. He writes books on sociology to get this. Now, check this out. There's 5 key competencies to an emotional intelligent leader. Now, I'm going to bring the words emotional intelligent into it because this goes hand in hand with leadership training. Now check this out. There are 5 key skills or competencies of an emotional intelligent leader. Personal awareness, integrity, internal motivation, empathy, and social skills. Now watch this. 95% of the problem are in the first grouping of skills. 5% of the training dollars are spent there. 95% of the training dollars are spent on empathy and social skills, but 5% of the problem resides there. Let's check it out. I mean, the calls we get, the reason that most of you are here is to fix my people. I mean, I got to get the wrong people out, get the right people in. I mean, we got to get these people making lists and closing deals and listening to what I say and playing nice in the sandbox. They're not responding to on-call messages. And I got, help me find the right people, the accountable people. Where are they? Can you come and train them for me? And I would say absolutely. However, I will make sure that we focus your training dollars on the right area. Because here's the thing, one begets the other. Empathy and social skills. Now, think about this for a minute. Think about somebody who is a sociopath, all right? And that would be somebody that maybe is could be a criminal. They could just be somebody who's just a narcissist, whatever. They're all around us. In fact, we're probably them sometimes ourselves, right? Many times. Not sociopaths, but not a criminal, but certainly a narcissist. But the point is this: is that those people that are not socially tuned in they show very limited signs of empathy, right? We're beginning to see that video gaming and some of the conditioning of kids and some of the ways that they, a lot of online attachment, we're taking away a lot of those intrapersonal skill development skills, right? And they get into the world really quick, and then what ends up happening is they can't respond in the world. They don't know how to respond. They don't know how to respond to constructive criticism. They don't know how to respond to you're on call. They don't know how to respond to you have a budget. They don't know how to respond to get here at 8, leave at 5. They don't respond to that. It's not that they don't want to respond to it. Gang, they don't know how to respond to it. They don't know how to respond to it. I mean, most of us in the room who are latchkey kids, we came home from school and we figured out how to make our own dinner. We figured out how to get ourselves to baseball practice. We figured out what to do on a snow day. We figured out, those things are all planned out and taken care of. I mean, you know what's coming before it comes in the world they live in today. I mean, they don't do textbooks anymore. Everything's online. This is just the world they live in. So they come delivered to you. They don't have these skills developed. But here's what happens when you try to develop those skills, you get kickback. It's because what really hasn't been developed are these things right here. And these are intrapersonal skills. These are skills that are inside of us. Personal awareness is my ability to recognize my influence on others. Right? Integrity is my ability to let my intentions match my actions. Internal motivation is my ability to do the right things for the right reasons. What we're talking about here is, listen, personal awareness, how to play nice in the sandbox, how to recognize the words you say, the tone you use, the body language you use. It matters. Whether or not you're listening or taking notes, it matters. I work with 9th grade boys. That's my mission field. That's where I thrive. I love it. And I will tell you what, this happened this weekend. Sitting on a stairwell, talking with a 9th grade boy, and here's what I get. I'm like, hey, let's call him Brent. Okay, hey Brent, what's going on? Tell me a little about yourself. Yeah, Brent, come on, tell me about yourself. Hey, Brent, can you put your phone down? Yeah. Tell me a little bit about yourself. He told me about himself. Can I tell you how I handled this 10 years ago? Brent, if you don't put that phone down, I'm going to take it out of your hand. I'm going to smash it against that wall. You need to listen to me, son. It doesn't work. It worked maybe 10 years ago. Had some backlash. Worked really well 20 years ago. Worked really well with me. But you know what? It ain't the way it works today. And that's not coddling, gang. This is just the world we live in. So personal awareness is you have to teach them that, hey, listen, when you are doing this, you're having an influence on someone else. And when they learn it, they go, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And they put their phone down, and guess what? They learn. I know it's silly, and it's a very, very small, and you're like, this has nothing to do with sales, Jeff. You're losing me here. Just tune in. We'll get there. Integrity is when my intentions match my actions. You know, that's the next in line to personal awareness. So once they learn that this is not the right thing to do, when they do it, they actually say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, I won't do it next time. They've reached integrity. But after a little bit of patterning, they learn that they can learn the pattern. They create better habits, right? And by the way, this is completely translatable when it comes to having a high accountability sales team. Okay, so I will tell you that one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is setting some parameters and guidelines for success. I don't believe in budgets. I don't believe in quotas. I believe in budgets. But most importantly, I believe in goals. So here's what I do with an owner of a company, any of you that are managers. I ask the owner of the company, I say, give me your budget for the year. What do you want to sell this year? I say, great, I've got 10 salespeople. I go back to the sales team. I say, hey, sales team, we've got to do $10 million this year. I've got 10 of you. How can we divvy this up? And some of you are going to say right now, you don't tell them 10, do you? You tell them 15, right? No, I don't lie to them. You can't lie. Don't lie to this culture. Do not lie to the culture. Don't lie ever. Okay? But don't lie to the culture. My thing is, we got to do $10 million. Let's do $10 million. And we divvy it up amongst the team. And then what I do is I create a tracker for them. Okay? And I help them build out what's called a recipe for success so that they all know exactly what they have to do to hit it. And when I give them that freedom and I lay it out for that and I let them go, I'm telling you right now, I've got living proof that it works. Here's what else happens in the culture today. You have some people that says, hey, listen, I'll take $3 million of that. Because Johnny over here, he just started, he can only take $250. And you get them, you see them working. You know what they come out? Sometimes they come out going, hey, listen, we think we could do more than $10 million. You think the boss would be okay if we did 12? I'm like, well, I could check with him and see. But it's the idea of integrity. If you trust first, you'll be trusted. Internal motivation, do the right things for the right reasons. Teach them how to set goals. Teach them how to make a 3-year goal plan, right? Teach them how to set up and succeed. And when they don't succeed, teach them how to rely on their core values. Teach them this. Teach them that never ever punish yourself for failure. Only punish yourself for inaction. Then you have empathy and social skills. Empathy is our ability to understand and respond to other people's emotions, and social skills is to build positive relationships. And I will tell you this, that you will never, ever get the full result of teaching these two skills unless your people and yourself have learned the top 3. So here's what you have. You have people inside your organization that are laggards, loners, and leaders. Laggards are defensive win-lose people. The only way they can win is someone else loses. They're gossip people. They like to pull people down. They talk people behind people's back. They sit all by themselves on a rock and they wait for somebody to come by and feel sorry for them. They don't trust systems and processes. They don't trust you. They don't trust themselves. And they do not persevere and they are not happy. Then you have loners. These are sometimes recovering laggards. These are people that have kind of stood up and said, listen, I don't want to be this way anymore. I don't want to be a laggard anymore. I'm going to go live in a silo. I'm blocking out all the noise. I'm going to do my own thing. You give a red stapler, they go in the basement, you never hear from them again, right? These are the loners. They just, boom, that's just how they roll, and they don't complain. They make you a profit. They'll never help you build a legacy. They don't show up at your sales meetings. You're perfectly okay with that because they produce. And then you have leaders. This is where you want to focus on building an organization. These are collaborative, win-win, or walk-away people. These are people that have learned the skills of emotional intelligence. They've learned the first three skills. They've learned to play nice in the sandbox. It's not nice to yell at people. It's not nice to treat people wrong. It's not nice to not play as a team. It's not nice to go on call. It's not nice to, not answer your phone or respond to text messages. It's not nice to do these things. And they've learned the skills, and now they teach other people how to behave, and they support your environment. I've got testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony of companies we've worked with that have such an easier time growing their sales now. They have a high accountability sales team, and they don't have to micromanage them. And the team is persevering, and they're trusting, and they're collaborating, and instead of arguing and infighting and gossiping, they just talk away, take a deep breath. They have techniques that they can use to deal with that. It's an amazing thing. What really makes or breaks that is called the approach state and the avoid state. You saw it on the previous screen. All this says is we teach people not to be threatened by the success of others. We teach people that they can find inspiration in the success of others. We teach people that they can be demotivated by obstacles, so that's not a good thing. And if they look at the big picture, they can seek solutions. And this stuff is infectious. Because there is very few people, if any, that ever wake up in the morning saying, today's the day I want to live my life in the avoid state. Today's the day I want to ignore useful feedback instead of learn from coaching. Today's the day I want to criticize others instead of coaching. Today's the day I want to give up easily instead of persevering in the face of adversity. There's not many of those people out there. And we teach them that there's a choice on which way you can behave. And let me tell you, share another quick story. This goes back to ninth graders again, because I think it's ninth graders in sports, direct parallel to sales, growing sales teams. So check this out. I'm working with a group of ninth graders, and we're talking about things that ninth graders do that they don't think anybody knows that they do, and they think about that nobody thinks that they think about, and they're talking to each other, and they're including me in the discussion and asking my input, and I'm letting them talk and talk and talk. And all of a sudden, we meet a couple weeks in a row, and I come back in, and they said, hey, Mr. Jeff, we're thinking about getting together on Tuesday night and holding ourselves accountable. They had a list of things that they wanted to hold themselves accountable to because they wanted to be better guys. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I said, man, I don't know if I can make it on Tuesday night. You got any other night? They're like, Mr. Jeff, we don't want you there. I'm like, wow. Talk about an amazing, imagine you're a manager. Imagine you're managing a sales team. And they come to you and they say, hey, Tom, hey, listen, we're thinking about getting together on Tuesdays to share ideas and thoughts and hold each other accountable to our calls and making sure we're calling on the right people and hitting the right things, everybody's doing the right thing. Would you be okay with that? And you said, yeah, but Tuesdays probably aren't my best day. Could we do Thursdays? And they said, Tom, we don't want you there. We want to meet by ourselves. Would that be an unbelievable feeling if you're a sales manager or a business owner? Sure. To know that your team is like, now, granted, you don't want it, somebody's going to ask me, well, do you let them do it? I mean, how do you know they're not going to, go out for happy hour in the middle of the day? Okay, I got it. But the principle is there, right? That if you build the structure and you set them loose, they'll find their own way to accountability. I found this out in working with sales teams, that anytime I put starts and finishes on things, or I put caps on things, here's what I find, is they usually work right up to the finish line or right up to the cap. Here's what I found out. If I remove the cap and I don't make there a start or a finish, they'll always work longer hours. They'll always do exceedingly more than I expect. It's kind of like negotiation. If you don't let the prospect go first, or the customer go first, and you go first, they probably always would have agreed to pay more if you would have just kept your mouth shut. But our controlling nature, right? Our controlling nature makes us want to control every single situation that we're in. Let me show you this. When you're in the approach state and your people in the approach state, check this out. Their influence over even the smallest situations gets bigger. In situations, issues, they disappear. Like on-call issues, they disappear. Like showing up to sales meetings issues, they disappear. Like little petty issues, they disappear when they're in the approach state. When people are in the avoid state, influence is decreased. That means everything becomes an issue. She won't stop talking to me. He won't stop bugging me. You know, every single time I turn around, you're trying to slap another quota on us. What's next? I mean, how long is this going to happen? He said this again. Do I have to do that? How many trackers do I have to fill out? It's because they're living in the avoid state, and your influence and their influence is being decreased. Let me walk into the steps to success. Number one, you must design your foundation for success. Number two, you must build your foundation. Number three, you must define your core processes. And number four, you must build and maintain an environment of trust. I'm prepared to show you the points to each one, okay? Here we go. Especially with the generation and the culture that exists, gang. State your vision. Create your goals to support your vision. Create your strategies to support your goals. Create your action steps to support your strategies. Create accountability to support the action steps. And create core values to reinforce the foundation. I know it seems like a lot. It's really not. In fact, I'm going to hand this out to everybody today, one of these. We actually put it on one 11.5 by 17 sheet of paper and folded it in half. And this is what we give to members of the sales team after we have established these things. But I will tell you that never before, it used to be you could throw your kids in the car and say, shut up, I'll tell you when we're going to get there and I don't know where we're going yet. They'd be quiet the whole way. Today, if you try to do that, you'd have a mutiny on your hands. They want to know where you're going, how long it's going to take, how many stops you're going to make. Can I bring my iPad and my charger, and are you going to have your MacBook Air, and can I use my cell phone? I mean, they want to know the whole thing. They want to know from start to finish, when are they going to be back, how they're going to, they want to know it all. I will tell you that one of the main reasons that your team is kicking back at you is they don't trust you. They're not just, here, I don't know who said this, build better services and support and make it easier for the salespeople. If you do that, you will treat the symptom, you will not solve the problem. That's not what they want. It's not what they want. They want to know where you are going. And they want to know, do you have a clue on how they could possibly get there? Step 2, build your foundation. Determine your sales focus. How many times do we have to hear that the jack of all trades is the master of none? And here's the thing. You can't be all things to all people. And if your salespeople do not have defined products or services, branded products and services to sell, you are absolutely steering them in the wrong direction. You have got to provide this kind of structure. Read a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber if you haven't done it. He talks about creating your business as a franchise prototype. I firmly believe that if you will just package different ways that you sell what you sell, it'll make life a lot easier to determine your sales focus. Create your marketing strategy. Yes, your marketing strategy. That means that the company must own the marketing strategy. Okay, you must own your social media platform. You must own how you're going to send out your newsletters. You must own what's going to be put out there in the public eye. You must own it. And you must inform your sales team what the guidelines are to that so that they know. If not, I'm going to tell you they're going to create their own. Third point, create a 3-year goal outlook. Create your 1-year goal plan. Create quarterly goals. Maintain and solve weekly issues and to-dos as a team. Yes, as a team. Do not allow your team to come to you one-to-one with issues. Force them to solve their issues on their own. That's what they want to do anyway. You ever hear of the 121 rule? They bring one issue to you. You tell them to retreat, find 2 possible solutions, bring it to the meeting on Friday, and we'll discuss it as a team and come up with one solution together. All right? These people want to work on their own. They want to be unleashed to solve problems. Number 3, define your core processes. How's marketing going to work? How's sales and operations going to work? How's sales and accounting going to work? How's customer retention and account management going to work? What are your expectations? What are your expectations? They want to know your expectations. Believe me, they do. They don't want you telling them how to do it, but they want you to let them know what are your goals and objectives. By the way, this is what we always thought and dreamed leadership and management to be. We're finally here as a culture. We can finally be leaders and managers. We don't have to be in the trenches all the time. We have people that will be in the trenches for us. Let them be in the trenches. Let's rise above it and let them go to work. Let's work on our strategies. The 4th thing is this. And this is undoubtedly the most important. But I will tell you, virtually impossible if you don't handle the first 3. Be a mentor, not a micromanager. Be an encourager, not a discourager. Let excellence determine the bar of your performance. Harness harmful behavior. Motivate and hold your team accountable. I'm telling you, you create an environment that's safe. An environment has to have parameters. Has to have parameters. And I will tell you that anybody who doesn't abide by your core values, they must be removed from your environment. That's how you're going to protect your environment. I mean, we'll throw away $6 of tangerines if we got one bad tangerine in there. And we'll live years with a toxic sales team. All started by one bad salesperson who toxified the rest of them. And you all know it. I know it as well as you do. We've all made the mistake of letting those people just terrorize the culture. You must pull them out, and we have a process for harnessing harmful behavior. We've got a process for everything we talked about here. And when you do that, you will protect your environment, and you will see other people thrive because of it. So I'm working with this company, local company. They grew from about 4.5 million to 7 million in a little over a year. It was a great run. I had known the guy from a CEO group that I'd worked in. We came in and basically took his sales team who had no CRM, had no sales process. He had a couple of legacy salespeople there, and began to build this. He built the company, got it run into where it was going, and the thing was just vibrating as it rolling down the road. And brought me in. We began to track everything on spreadsheets. Soon moved that over to a CRM. Hired an operations manager who helped get us in that, get a CRM shored up. Did 1, 2, and 3. Steps 1, 2, and 3, and we were in step 4. And I get a call from the owner one day. He says, "Hey, I got an issue." I used to get this call a lot. "I got an issue." "What's that?" We're going to use the word Brenda, the name Brenda to protect the innocent. He says, "Brenda every day is in the bathroom at 4:30 and she's changing into her workout clothes." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Then she goes and she sits at her desk, and at exactly 5 o'clock she leaves." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "I'm just getting a little sick and tired of it. She doesn't seem like she really wants to be here." I said, "Really?" I go, "Did you ask her why she's putting her work on?" "No, that's your job." "Okay, I am under contract with you. I'm happy to handle this one, whatever." So I called and I talked to her. Here's what I found out. Brenda coaches lacrosse in downtown Tampa, and their office is in downtown St. Pete. And so she says, "Yeah, so February through April I coach lacrosse." I said, "Okay, what time's practice?" 5:30. He says, "You leave at 5 and you try to get from downtown St. Pete to downtown Tampa in 30 minutes? She goes, "Yeah, usually I'm a little late, but I have a parent cover for me." I said, "Oh my goodness." I go, "This is dangerous." I said, "I have an idea." So I go back to the owner. And I said, "Okay, I got a solution." He goes, "What?" I go, "She coaches lacrosse from April to on these days of the week. I'm going to tell her she can leave at 4:30. Like, "What? Are you kidding me? That's the whole problem." I said, "Believe me, it'll work. Let me tell her she can leave at 4:30. "Well, what's the rest of the team going to say?" I go, "I think that they're going to think it's a really good thing. I think that you're overreacting." So after some deliberation, he finally relented, and I went back to her and I said, hey, Brenda, I just want to let you know, we really think this is a great thing you're doing. We love that you're doing some work outside the office. But here's the deal. You can't get to downtown St. Pete in 30 minutes. And the look on her face was, oh. I said, so we just would want you to leave at 4:30, make sure you get there on time. You're there for practice. And, and she goes, oh, my goodness, really? I said, absolutely. Now, mind you, she's 24 years old, okay? So she's smack dab right in the millennials. She's, and she said, wow, that's great. She goes, hey, I can come in early. I go, listen, you do what you got to do to hit your sales numbers. That's all we need you to do. By the way, she was hitting her sales numbers. And so she did it. I alerted the rest of the team this is what's going to be happening. The rest of the team was, that's cool, because whenever you let things out in the open like that and you're forthright and you're straightforward and people were totally cool with it, right? And do you know that after 3 months, her sales went up? Wait, I'm going to tell you more. She became the model, culture representative. I mean, she was like the model citizen. She was there early. On days that she didn't practice, she was there late. She was talking up how great the company was. Her sales went up. Her tone changed. Everything changed. Now, I don't know what you're going to take from that story, except, listen, be an encourager, not a discourager. Be a mentor, not a micromanager. Let excellence determine the bar for your performance. Harness harmful behavior and motivate and hold your team accountable.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. We'd like to offer up a free tool that allows a salesperson to be accountable to a 1 and 3 year plan. Here's how it works. On the front cover, you have what's called the recipe for success and a 1 year plan. This allows you to lay out your personal income and sales goals along with your plan and strategy for attracting new clientele and maintaining your existing clientele. There's also a section on this front page which allows the salesperson to document what they want their priority focus to be for the goal. It breaks out each category of life and gives them a place where they can put their commitments for the quarter. When you open up the document, you'll notice that there are 4 sections, one for each quarter, and they mirror each other. This allows the salesperson to set their personal and professional goals, and it allows them to be accountable to those goals on a weekly basis. There are 13 weeks in a quarter, and for each time a salesperson makes an action toward their goal, they can go ahead and check off to hold themselves accountable on a weekly basis. Then on the back cover, we have a section called Desired Results. That Desired Results section allows the salesperson to identify their core values, their personal priorities, and their professional focus, along with having a 3-year goal outlook. It allows them to project their income and their sales expectations over the course of the next 3 years and capture what they believe would be the measurables in order to help to accomplish those goals. There's even a section for them to write a note to themselves so they can review it in 3 years. Finally, on the bottom of the back section, there is a place where the salesperson can document what their mindset was for the quarter. They can take a look at what their successes and lessons learned were in the areas of their attitude, commitment, and time. This allows the salesperson to make course correction throughout the year. It's an excellent tool to be accountable. This is an excellent tool that will allow your team to come behind you and support your 4 steps for success. If you'd like a copy of this tool, we'd be happy to send one to you. Please send us an email, training@redrockleadership.com, or visit us on the web at redrockleadership.com. Just fill out the contact form and indicate that you'd like to have a copy of the 1-page sales strategy plan, and we'll go ahead and send it to you right away. Thank you for watching, and make it a great day.